I knew for some months that I wanted to give up dairy and gluten. It wasn't until I was in a position where I was living in my own accommodation that I had the opportunity to do it.
I discovered at the bakery that gluten-free bread can have more fat and sugar than the regular kind. But Priya says it's not just what's been added to these products that cause concern, but what's often missing as well.
Some people have a gluten sensitivity and do need those products, but when you compare them to the products that contain gluten, the gluten-free ones are lower in fibre, they quite often don't contain a whole grain, and we know there's a link between whole grains and your risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes and certain cancers. So whole grains, we want people to be eating more of those, not less. They can be lower in B vitamins, they can be lower in iron, they can be higher in fats, higher in sugars, and higher overall in calories. Although it can seem like it's a healthy choice to go gluten-free, the foods that are out there on the shelves are actually less nutritious. And it's not to say that a gluten-free diet can't be healthy, it's just to say if you're relying on those pre-processed packaged foods in the supermarket, then they're not going to be as good for you as people think they are.
Essential nutrients are missing in other free-from foods as well. Dairy-free milk alternatives like soya, oat or almond milk contain much less iodine than cow's milk, which some headlines claim poses a health risk. Now, I have an underactive thyroid, so I know that foods with iodine in them would be quite good for me.
So iodine is definitely one of these lesser talked about nutrients, but it's really important. We know that it plays a role in boosting metabolism. It's also really important in development for brains for children.
Can you give me a measurement about how much iodine you should get from your food every day?
So the general population wants to be having 150 micrograms of iodine a day. A glass of cow's milk can be between 50 and 100 micrograms of iodine. So you're getting between a third to 2/3 just from one glass. But with the plant-based milk, it's 2 micrograms of iodine.
2? And you're supposed to get 150 a day?
Yes.
That's a lot. Does that surprise you?
That does surprise me. Because obviously an underactive thyroid is going to make you quite lethargic, isn't it?
Most plant-based milk alternatives are fortified with added vitamins and minerals, but few contain added iodine, and if you choose one of those, you could be missing out. Christina had no idea this could be the case, especially because she'd been feeling so much better since she cut out gluten and dairy. So to see if her new diet is lacking any essentials or packing some unexpected extras, she's been keeping a food diary for the last week, which Priya has been poring over.
I'm not surprised that you're actually feeling better. Because for a lot of people, when they decide to go gluten-free and dairy-free, what it means is they cut out a lot of the convenience foods and instead they change to making things more from scratch and making things at home. So overall, their diet does become a lot healthier.
And is that what you do? You cook from fresh now, do you?
Yes, yeah, everything. Everything is fresh, yes.
So that's pretty good. So the transformation Christina is feeling could have nothing to do with gluten or dairy, but it has meant Christina's diet is lacking some essentials like fibre.
You seem quite reliant on things like sweet potato and potato. So having more whole grains like quinoa, for example, they're going to give you more fibre and they're going to just give you that range of nutrition that we want to be getting into your diet.
Okay, perfect.
While there are ways to get whole grains into your diet and still stay gluten-free, Christina knows she's not intolerant to gluten, so could easily get those whole grains from bread and cereals. Priya's not convinced that gluten and dairy were what caused Christina to feel tired and bloated in the first place, so she's got a proposition.
If you were open to putting the dairy and the gluten back in for a couple of weeks, it would be a really good test to see, is it those that have caused the problem, or is it actually because I've started cooking more at home myself and I've changed overall the quality and the nutrition in my diet? Which is it that's giving me
Are you
this
happy
effect?
to try that?
Yeah, I'm absolutely happy to try that.
Over the next few days, Christina slowly reintroduces gluten and dairy into her diet. But I'm afraid it's not all plain sailing. She experiences a common, albeit temporary, side effect.
So I've just had a latte and my stomach is in a lot of pain. Not the best result that I was hoping for. Right now, not feeling amazing. Not 100% sure whether this is going to work, but I'm certainly willing to give it a try again.
Although it takes her body a few days to adjust to dairy and gluten, her symptoms soon calm down, and Christina can work on reintroducing those crucial whole grains which contain gluten.
Just cooked up some pearl barley risotto for lunches this week. Yum. Just done a bit of training, feeling really, really good today. Try my pearl barley again, see how I feel, because I'm feeling really positive today. Here we go.
A month after Christina started to reintroduce gluten and dairy, Priya's calling to see if she's noticed a difference and if she'll be sticking to the new diet.
First meal, I thought, oh no, I've got a bit of stomach ache, and then I sort of thought, hang on a sec, there's no bloating, there's no other symptoms, and I feel absolutely great. I really didn't enjoy being off of gluten and dairy. I did it because it made me feel better at the time, and I feel like that period of 2 months where I was off of gluten was enough, and I absolutely love being back on all this food. Absolutely love it.
Oh, that's great news.
But there's a twist. Even though Christina's symptoms haven't returned, now she's eating gluten and dairy again. Priya says that doesn't mean that they weren't the cause of her tiredness and bloating in the first place. They could have been Christina's body simply telling her to cut down on those foods, not cut them out altogether.
So everybody's got a tolerance level of gluten and dairy, and it may just be that you'd hit that level and then gone over the top of it, and that's why you were experiencing those symptoms at that time.
So do you think that having the 2 months off from now on, that's going to be enough?
I think if you have another flare-up and it's a one-off occasion, then perhaps the next day cut back a little bit. Don't go back to completely cutting these foods out of your diet, because it may be that you can't have those foods at 3 meals a day, but you could have them 2 meals a day, for example.
Being back on all of this food means I can go out and enjoy life a bit more, so I'm definitely going to continue on this path. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.